Hey students, welcome back. In a minute, we're going to learn more about what plants need to grow. But before we do, let's check in and see if we remember the words we learned the other day. The first word was plant. Remember this picture? We talked about how plants can grow from a tiny seed way into a big grown plant. This is wheat. There's a lot of different types of plants, but plants usually have roots, a stem that comes out of the ground, leaves, and usually they grow in the ground too. Plant. And then the other word we talked about the other day was require. That's a fun one to say. Say it with me. Require. If you require something, you need it. Plants need water. They require water. They also require other things to grow and be healthy. But we'll find more about that in a moment. Now, I do have 3 more words for you, and they're really good words to know. So listen carefully and say them with me. The first new word is harmful. Say it with me. Harmful. Now let's clap it out. Harmful. Some of you were talking about what is harmful to the coral reef. Something that is harmful can hurt you. In this picture, they're showing a lot of rubbish, garbage, pollution. It's harmful to air and water, and animals and plants. Harmful. Why is it important to keep harmful things out of our ocean? Well, we talked about litter is harmful to coral reefs and other things that are in the ocean. The next word that I'd like to talk about, you'll probably hear it in the story we're going to read, is soak. Soak means to take something in. In this picture, the boy is using a towel to soak up the milk that spilled. What would you use to soak up spilled milk? A towel is probably a pretty good choice. When you learn new things, your brain is soaking up the information. Soak. Say it once with me. Soak. Listen for that one in the story too. The last word I want to talk about before we get to our reading is crowd. When you crowd something, you push it into a small space. Or you could just say there's a lot of things in a small space. This boy is trying to crowd all of his colored pencils into that small pencil box. Crowd. Say it with me. Crowd. How many coats can you crowd into your closet? I wonder how many kids we can crowd into a classroom. So crowd means a lot of things in a small space. All right, listen carefully for all the words we've been talking about in our story. Now, this is a true story. Informational text is going to teach us about real things and real places. This story is about growing plants. So, what things do plants need to grow? Well, we know they need water. I wonder what else they need. Let's read and find out. If you have ever been in a forest, you know that trees can grow taller than a house. Over many, many years, trees reach higher and higher toward the sky. A tree is a type of plant, and a plant is a type of living thing. Like all living things, including humans, plants need some help in order to grow. A plant can be anything from a tree or a flower to a carrot or even a patch of moss. Even though plants live in different places and look different from each other, all plants require the same things to survive and grow. Those things are food, water, air, sunlight, and space. Does all of that sound familiar? It should, because those are all of the things that we need to grow too. Food, water, air, sunlight, and space. We all know just what it feels like to be hungry or thirsty. Plants need food and water just like people do. Plants do not chew or swallow, though. Instead, their roots simply soak up the food and water from the soil around them. A plant needs to have just the right weather and soil. If a plant does not get the food and water it needs, it can die. A plant's roots are the twisty parts that keep it steady in the ground. Roots grow in many directions, downward and out to the sides. The roots pull food from the soil, which is another word for dirt. Plant food is made of materials that keep living things healthy. Different materials have different jobs. Some materials help the plant grow flowers and seeds. Others help the plant fight diseases and stay healthy. A plant uses water to move materials from its roots to all of its other parts, like its stem and its leaves. Most plants also use water to make their own food. Do you want to know how? That's pretty cool that the plants can make their own food. In order to do this, they require sunlight, air, and water. Most of the action happens on the leaf. With the ingredients of light, air, and water, the leaf makes sugar. Then, the plant uses the sugar to grow. Plants have a sweet tooth, just like people do. When plants make sugar, they also give off a gas that all living things need. This gas makes up part of the air that we breathe. Now you know why trees and other plants are so important to humans and other animals. We can't live without them. When we keep forests healthy, we help the entire planet. The more plants we grow, the better our air will be. It's also really important to keep smoke, garbage, and other types of harmful materials out of the air and water. The waste or the rubbish blocks the sunlight and makes water dirty. And as you know, plants need good sunlight and clean air and water. Plants can grow almost anywhere. You might find one poking through a crack in the sidewalk. Or you might see a branch growing between two big rocks. And you might ask yourself, how did that plant find room to grow? A plant can grow just about anywhere from the bottom of the ocean to the dry desert. Still, plants need space to grow fully. You might see a stubby stem come up through a hole in your driveway, but you'll never see a tall elm tree there if it doesn't have enough space. Roots need plenty of soil so that they can soak up the food and water. In a forest, trees must grow tall so they can get enough sunlight. Just as you need space to run and play, plants need land to grow tall and wide. Plants are having a tough time these days. Humans are using up more and more land for buildings and roads. Instead, people should probably start to save land for plants. If we crowd plants into small spaces, they will be small and unhealthy, or they won't grow at all. In the end, what do plants and humans need? We need each other.